Hey guys, it's Brandon again for BrothorityFilms, and this week I will be reviewing the original Tobe Hooper Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the not too bad remake. This film in particular is considered a classic. It was made in 1974, has a really realistic tone to it, and it sort of started slasher genre again. Psycho laid the groundwork, Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock, but this sort of built on that and gave the killer a name and a face that was unforgettable, really. This was made in 2003, and although it's not perfect, it's not a bad remake. I wouldn't say it's as good as this, anywhere near, to be honest. This is untouchable in my opinion, but it's not terrible. I'll talk about this one first, seeing as it's my personal favourite. This, when it was first released, was a film that was sort of frowned upon and banned. It was grotesque, it was horrible, it was kind of horrifying watching what the characters did in this film. Now it's kind of forgotten because of all the strange sort of sequels and remakes and sequel, quasi-sequels, all the weird stupid titles that they give to the sequels these days. But it didn't have to show you that much. It was truly a horrific film in terms of the content, such as the girl being chased by Leatherface towards the end. It's a good, like, 10-minute long chase of her screaming through Texas and him running after her with his chainsaw. Gunnar Hansen in this, who plays Leatherface, gave an interview when this edition was released, saying that at some points he actually felt like he was Leatherface. There's a bit in the film where he's holding the girl who he's trying to kill and trying to get the grandpa to smash her head with a hammer, and apparently he actually was very close to attempting to kill her. He got into his character that much. They'd been filming for 20 hours plus, and with all the lighting and whatnot in the house, apparently the house was 100 degrees, and all the food was rotting, and it was stinky, and it was kind of a really horrible environment to work in. But Tobe Hooper kept pushing them, and Gunnar Hansen, who played Leatherface, was quite close to actually killing the girl. Luckily he didn't. I don't know if that's just an urban myth, but it's kind of interesting to realise how into the character these people got. This film, it doesn't really show you that much. This hook on the back is probably the most grotesque scene. Leatherface picks up this girl and there's a hook, a meat hook, and he just slams her onto it, and that's probably the most horrible scene. It obviously goes through her back and then he revs up the chainsaw and starts chasing after her. But it's a decent enough film. I watched this with my family. They all hated it because of the screaming. But then it makes me realise, basically, that's what the film is about. If you're not horrified, as this girl is screaming, because of all the horrible things that the family's doing to her, then I don't think you get the point of this film. In my opinion, it's a great film. It's a classic horror film now. I definitely recommend watching this one. I'm going to talk about the remake now, which is produced by Michael Bay, which obviously he produces a lot of kind of money-making films. He produces this, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. All of which I've reviewed so far, so go check those out. But it's not terrible. It's sort of midway. The thing is with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't truly recognise it as a series. It does have a killer with a name, but it was like there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, the original, then there's a sequel, then they tried to remake / reboot it with Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, then they tried to reboot / remake it again with the Next Generation, which I have not seen, so I've heard it's terrible. Then they remade it again with this, and then they made a prequel to this called Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Beginning, and then they're going to make another reboot / remake called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. So it's hard to kind of review this film because should it be a sequel? Should it be a remake? Should it be a reboot? It's not really any of them. It's a bit of all of them, really. There's none of the characters that are in this one particularly. There's a girl, but she seems to be the only identifiable one. There's a guy in a wheelchair in this, and he's not in this. I don't know whether it's because it's more sensitive now with disabilities and stuff, but the main thing that I like about this film is Leatherface. He is a monster in this film. He's scary. When he first appears, he's menacing. When he has his spoiler, when he has his arm cut off, he doesn't really care. He just smashes his arm against all these lockers to try and get his arm off so he can still have the chainsaw. And another great thing about this film is it has Ali Ermey in it from Full Metal Jacket, and he's a real asshole in this film. He plays a sheriff, but right from the get-go, the way that he goes about things is a bit off. There's a girl that's killed herself in these Five Travelers minivan, and he, instead of like getting the authorities there to help him take the body away to a mortuary or something, he gets cling film and wraps it round her. And he doesn't really do much of the work. The people that call him up, he forces them to like hold this decaying body in their arms while he wraps it up in cling film. It's really kind of sickening, and it reminds you that this one didn't really have to show you all that much to make you scared. It's more the idea of how realistic this film is than anything else. Like, the family in this is truly horrifying, whereas in this it's a stereotypical kind of redneck sort of thing. They all have crappy jobs, they're all inbred, as it's stated in the prequel. It's mentioned in this, but not all that much. Another thing that's kind of disappointing about this one is it's not once mentioned that these are cannibals. And this is clear. On the barbecue, he's cooking human meat. In the meat factory, there is human meat. In this, it's not even mentioned. It's sort of hinted at, but it's not made clear. Another thing that I liked about this was it sort of built up the tension. Like, when Leatherface smashes down onto the roof of the car and he's trying to, like, kill the two girls inside, he hides his face for most of it. Then, when the girl is left in the van after he's killed another one of the travellers, he turns around and the girl in the car realises that it's the face of her boyfriend. It never even hinted that he made faces in this. He obviously has 3 different masks. He has 2 female and 1 male mask, but they could have been from anywhere. It could have been from a shop or anything. But in this, it's clear that he makes the masks. You see him like Vaseline a face, and then obviously it's left to your imagination that he's going to cut it off, but then you see him wearing it, so obviously he has. It's not a terrible remake. It's not amazing. I guess if you don't like the constant screaming and strange sounds, and I kind of like the dark humour in this, but some people have gone against it because it's in bad taste, then I'd say you might want to see this one. I don't consider it a classic, I don't consider it a great film, but it's a decent remake, and you'll get the gist of what's going on. But, in personal opinion, I'd see the original, just because it's my personal favourite, and I think it did start the slasher craze that came with Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, things like that. So, thanks for watching this. If you enjoyed this review, give me a like. Thank you, and I will see you next week for my finale, where I will be reviewing the Halloween original and remake. Oh.